Don't worry, they didn't hear the cough. Now I'm changing where the camera is, and now everyone can hear me. And now you're looking down. What is going on, everybody? Thanks so much, Bills Preston Esquire, for the sub at Tier 1. 2 months. That's the longest you can go currently. Because we've only been going for 2 months. I'm shocked that we've had subscribers for 2 months. I guess I should do my spiel.
Thanks, guys.
What the heck is going on, everybody? Welcome to another Beer Hall podcast, episode 8, the State of Beer 2021. Came up with a bunch of different names for this. None of it really worked. I needed a gimmick to put a beer in a suit. So it's the State of Beer, the State of the Union 2021. Just so everybody, if you haven't been here before, we are Iowa's premier video podcast about beer news, beer culture, shenanigans, beer-related shenanigans, gripping and ripping, everything you wanted to know. As it is every week, I'm one of your hosts, Flix Brewer Jack, a.k.a. the Dean of Doubles. I'm still getting my thing through yours, Barker. The Mayor of Maybach and the Sheriff of Stouts, Jack Wilson. And alongside me, as usual, is the Lover of Lambics, the King of Kavike, the strongest cellarman in the world, Matthew Barker.
Hi, guys.
What's going on? Beer Nanigans is right. What just happened? Continuing
Beer
gift
Nanigans.
Ooh, nice. It didn't make a noise for that. I don't know why. But you're continuing thank you so much, Cool Whip, for the continued support of us. I guess we should just start drinking, right? We got some beers. I got a beer list. I got dropped off a bunch of beers today too. So shout out to you, Bills Preston, as well. But that is not on the technical beer list because I didn't have time to take them over to Parker.
Bless you.
So we're gonna start out with a classic grip and rip here at episode 8. This is a Tipsy and Tijuana Mexican lager from Back Pocket, and it doesn't say anything else on the can about it. Oh, no, it does. Signature Mexican lager returns this year with a hint key of lime juice and salt. Brewed with flaked corn, rice, and hopped with moteca. All right, I guess we're tripping.
ABV, sir? ABV?
5%.
5, yeah.
All right, you ready?
No, this always ends poorly.
Yeah,
3, 2, 1. Rip!
And rip. Happy Saturday evening, everybody. What's everybody else drinking in the chat? What's everybody else drinking out there in the world? That's what we really need to know. What's going on, Micah? Welcome back.
Anytime my head disappears from the screen, I'm reading your guys' chats, so sorry about that. His
computer wants to die, so he's got to use his phone. Water for now, says Cool Whip.
For now.
My classic, very beer clean mason jar. All you need is mason jar for drinking out of.
I am drinking it straight out of the can because I'm classy like that.
Mexican lager, baby. Do it. Do what you want. How are you doing, Barker? How was work today?
Work was long. Work was hard. It was work. And now I'm here with everybody else drinking.
Yeah, that's the way to be on a Saturday evening.
Damn straight.
How's everybody else's Saturday night going? How's everybody doing out there? Well...
darn.
Yeah. Try not in the 10 minutes. Try not to in the 10 minutes. We know where the stumbles go to afterward. But, we'll try to start off a little bit nicer. But this is the State of Beer 2021. It's been a long year, Barker, since last year. How long has it felt to you? How many years have you spent?
More than I want. So long. Yet also, weirdly, I'm trying to figure out how to... Not only was it long, like, felt like a long year, but it just, like, felt like the same thing every day the whole year, which is kind of crappy.
Yeah, no kidding. Bills Preston is gripping and ripping in a Heslick Times right now. I've got one of those in my fridge as well. But what's funny is 2019 was actually quite a good year for craft beer in general. And you wouldn't have thought going into 2020 that things would be what they are. Everyone was taking bets on what was going to be the next big things, what was going to go on. And honestly, no one could have expected what was going on, right? So, so this is an article from January 27th, 2020 about the beer trends that were about to happen, or theoretically about to happen in the beer industry, national beer industry going forward in 2020. This article is from Beverage Dynamics, and it's by Kyle Swartz. These are the seven trends. And woof, when you hear these trends, it's like, ugh, that didn't end well. So this is what happened. We're going to answer questions of what was going on, what happened, where are we, and where we're going, basically. That's tonight. That's the state of the beer union, the brew union. And here's number one. Here's trend number one from 2020, as of January 27th, 2020, before everything. The tap room era. The tap room era. Yep. So, and this is a big one. So this is on here, and it's on an article from the Des Moines Register as well. Pivo, before 2020, had to bet either they wanted to put in a canning line or put in a giant event space in their tap room. Before, and you know what they went with?
Giant space.
Giant space. Yep. Giant space instead of the canning line. And then they had to kind of shift everything. And yeah, this is Beverage Dynamics 2020 trends in craft beer. Mm-hmm. And this is, it's funny, there's a bunch of quotes in here. The industry shift has understandably worried beverage alcohol retailers. Rather than buy what's local at stores, consumers spend those dollars at the tap room. But it's not necessarily a bad thing in the long run. We have, and this is from Sun King and Indy. We have 3 tap rooms in the surrounding areas, and sales to our retail accounts have actually increased. So this is somebody saying maybe it's not as bad because people are going to the tap rooms and they go, oh, this is so good. And they'll go buy it in the stores. Little did they know the tap room era was about to just get gutted. Just 100% gutted. And that leads me to a beautiful, where's my doc? Where's my Goog doc? So here's a good little blurb about this. From March 18th through April 21st last year, searches for brewery near me on Google and everything decreased 26% from the year before. And then also declined at 84% of what had been a rise during the previous year. Total consumer spending on accommodations, food services via credit card also was down more than 60% at in-person restaurants and tap rooms.
Jeez.
Yeah, and that was
we got rocked
at the start of it. Yep,
we got rocked.
Yeah, so that was the first trend, tap room era. That didn't happen, obviously.
Yeah.
All right, here's one thing that did, continues to happen. Number 2, hazy's here to stay. That happened, right? We're good to go on that. Everyone's making them, still making them.
Yep, love me a hazy.
Do you though? Do you, Walker? Do you love a hazy?
I mean, more than normal IPAs.
Also, I guess I should ask you, how does it feel? What was the tap room like right before? Were you seeing an increased drive before it all happened, and then what happened afterwards?
Well, I wasn't around the tap room that much during open hours, but I feel like we were fairly consistent. I mean, we had the slow days, but then our weekend days were good. And then, yeah, it all hit, and yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, how did it affect 515's tap room? What did you guys have to shift to?
We just shifted pretty much 100% to go sales. So we had the crowlering machine and we had to go sales. But I know we had the crowlering machine. I don't remember if we were doing to go sales at that time. I feel like we might have been. But it wasn't overly utilized. And then, yeah, then it got crazy because that was all we had to utilize.
Yeah, pretty nuts. You guys didn't reopen the tap room itself until what,
October? Oh, well past when everywhere else was back open, because we could have opened the tap room up earlier. And then even when we did open it up, we did not every day was open. We did half the week had open tap room, the other half didn't. And then we shifted into, I think, most days. I don't know if we're fully back, but most days we'll have a few people in the tap room.
Right.
But
yeah.
that's more of a the last month or so, if that. So it's taken us that long just to get to the 50% capacity.
Right. Shout out to IPA Aaron in the chats just saying ... I don't know what it was referring to, but welcome back. Appreciate you
Hmm.
being here. The other trends include some other things like high ABV is now a niche. And let's see, what was the other one? Not non-alcoholic and low ABV beer is in and popular, and I was like, that went away quick. I feel like the start of last year, everyone was making low cal IPAs and stuff, and like I don't know if anyone wanted to drink like that at home. That's more for like the going out and socialness.
Let's see, what else is there? Ooh,
But
CBD beers emerge. Have no idea
yes,
about that.
yeah, like this is national news, so
Mm.
this is another thing where they were going out, they were being like they're going out, everyone's going out having fun, doing this stuff, calms you down. But I think that's part of what killed everything as well. You can't if you can't go out have some social drinks with friends and stuff. There's not as much of a reason to be drinking certain types of beer, or like if you're not going out and running, you're not going out to multiple places. That's why the low alcohol beers is not a big deal. Yeah, and they're yeah, so they were predicting low ABV beer being a big deal and high ABV beer like going down into
Yeah.
just a niche. And yeah, I've seen that. That did happen as well a little bit, but I think there's been a slight uptick as well. And like people drinking at home, they're going to drink a higher alcohol beer because they don't have to go anywhere. They're not worried about having to sit in a session and drink, I don't know, 10 beers in a sesh.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty crazy. But it's just funny to see like the things they predicted and what happened on everything is just absurd, just nuts. And
Hmm.
this is like goes into what happened and why craft beer is having such a hard time is right at the beginning, like you said, you moved all the way to go stuff, right? Yeah, right before
Yeah,
Flicks closed, there
that
was a
was like
big
over like, and we didn't really have much notice. So it was over like a day. We had to get everything working. Not
right, yeah.
even.
And right before Flicks shut down, we really started pushing mocktails, low alcohol stuff, trying to like even seltzers, a little bit healthier
Yeah.
stuff. You saw that. Now seltzers is a different game. That those are still exploding slightly. But we're gonna move on to a little bit of what happened going on. Like craft beer was up 2019, going up. They're predicting all this stuff. Boom, COVID, right? We all shut down, and so craft beer got nailed hard because right at the start of the pandemic, in the April area, this was from an article called "The Complicated Impact of COVID-19 on the Craft Brewing Industry" from Tim McCurdy. Even if you can bottle or can beer, you have to sell it to someone. And those people that are going to the stores aren't like they're looking for the most. They don't want to have to go to the store multiple times. They're looking to get
Yeah.
as much as they can into their house all at once. And this they call it the pantry loading months, March, April, and June.
Yeah.
Their habits shifted from craft to purchasing macro brands and their lager in 12s, 24s, and those big cases for cheap because they didn't think they were going to go to the store at all. Did you end up buying any, like a bunch of, like, I know a lot of people I know, they went to the store, there was no toilet paper, obviously, and a lot of people I know were like, I went and bought Busch Light for the first time in forever. I went and bought Miller Lite for the first time and whatever because it was cheap. There's large cases of it and all that stuff. Have you seen much of that? Or did you see much of
Uh,
that last year?
I was like, I didn't. I mean, I just have that stuff stocked anyways. So, um, I got that Coors Banquet on tap. Not really. That'd be awesome. Um, I I think at the very start, like we did all right because we had a good customer base. Um, like we were putting through, like going through a crap ton of crowlers. Like
Right.
we were shortaging, which I know is a subject that should be probably talked about as well. But um, I think we transitioned all right, and our sales were still pretty good. I mean, we were lucky that if people wanted our beer, they either had to go out to a bar to drink it and or you know in here. So as opposed to competing with on the shelf stuff, if people actually wanted our beer, it was they had to pretty much come to us and physically see it. So there wasn't any other option if they wanted it. They weren't going to go into like a Hy-Vee and see, oh, here's a 4-pack of some Confluence beer, but I've got a 24 pack that costs the exact same amount or less. I'm going to grab that instead. So I think it sucks because it would be nice to have that in store, especially kind of mid pandemic and to now. Like having a storefront presence is good.
Yeah.
I know our Mexican Spring when we had it in Hy-Vees because we did that the limited canning of that and had them in Hy-Vee. I think those sold really, really well.
Yeah, shelf space on the store shelves became increasingly important. One of the funny things is, like you were talking about, what also hurt craft brewers when they had to shift to cans immediately. There was already an aluminum can shortage going in to 2020 because of the way things were going away from bottles to cans. Bottles actually saw a slight increase in 2020 compared to 2019 because everyone was like hunting just for anything they could slap their beer into. Yeah, so it's so this is a nationwide percentage, and I think this is actually higher in Iowa. On sales premise accounts for 45% of craft beer volume pre 2020. So you're talking 45% in Iowa. I think honestly it's higher. Most of the breweries they don't distribute at all, and if they do distribute,
Yeah.
they self distribute. And if they're doing it on their own, they still want most of their sales are over the bar top. And they count on that over the bar top because they make a ton more money there. So you're talking 45% or more sales just gone immediately. And we shut down for a little bit. Iowa didn't shut all the way down, but you're still talking like huge loss. And we've seen other breweries shift entirely to like, I don't know the percentages, but Hzelig started pumping out cans because no one's going, like, they hit the perfect time for doing canning, I suppose.
Yeah.
Bill's Preston said they went to bulk bought a bunch of 4 and 6 packs of craft beer, and so Micah said they did the same thing, wanting to support small businesses. And we saw a huge boom of that at the beginning of everything. The support local, buy to go. But as it kept going, and as places started to open back up, the need seemed to be less. So there was actually people weren't doing that as much as they should. Now, our audience here at the beer hall, me, you, our viewers probably are not your average craft beer fans. They would have been buying beer to go most of the time anyway, and then obviously they have their favorite spots. But your average Joe Schmo on the street was like, oh, I want to support local for 2 months. And then after that 2 months was over, they got tired of paying a premium for the craft beer.
Exactly. They were like, oh, and who knows how many people who were impacted, like, didn't have jobs and were on unemployment because of it.
Yep.
And, budgets become tighter and, 24 cans of beer, 48 cans of beer from Costco, or it's 24, I don't even remember, but like that huge bulk is fiscally more responsible. But so it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't. Waterloo Cedar Falls Single Speed said they lost 60% of its sales because they had to close their tap rooms over the first chunk of the thing. 20%, and only 20% of Single Speed's normal business was cans and bottles. So yeah, it's really tough, and a lot of people had a lot of people go, and that's unfortunate. We haven't seen too many. I don't think I've actually heard of really many closures in Iowa specifically, but the craft beer industry in general saw a lot of closures happen.
Well, especially for new places, like brand new places that had yet to be established. That would suck for them. Because even if it's like, is Hzelig 2 years or just over 1 or something?
1.5, just about right.
1.5.
It was June to June would have been 1.
Yeah.
So then June to this June would be 2 exactly. So they're in their second year of business right now.
And the Peanut Pub's been around for a while, correct?
Yeah. Yep. They were in Oskaloosa before Pella. It wasn't the same
and
thing,
so there's a little bit, there's still a little connection between that I think probably just business-wise, and I think Newton was pretty good with it. For them, even though they were a young brewery, they showed it who's boss.
Yeah, and
a lot of other places.
Bill's Preston says novelty of supporting local brewery kind of wore off at a point because people they stopped taking it seriously. They just wanted to go to the places, and that actually made some of their audience, for whatever reason, mad at the brewery for not allowing more people in. And then they just stopped going to these places. They stopped buying more. And you know what would have been a great alternative for that is that some places turned to delivery for beer, like straight to consumer delivery. And because of an exception right now, people can do that. But if there's only actually 13 states where you can actually do shipping directly to the consumer. So 73% of people, craft beer drinkers, say the pandemic has increased their interest in direct-to-consumer beer, yet only 13 states actually allow the shipments to happen.
Yeah.
And this is not even just I'm delivering this to your door. This is, shipping you beer. And this is and that's the safest way to do it. And I mean, people ship wine, right? People ship wine.
Yeah.
I get a box of wine every month. Why are we doing the same thing with beer? So these are the places. And right now in Iowa, we're in a weird limbo spot because there's a lot of exceptions that went into law, just like the craft cocktail thing was actually signed in. You can do that forever now, it seems. But we got Alaska, DC, not a state, should be, Kentucky, Nebraska, Nevada, New Hampshire, North Dakota, Ohio, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Vermont, Virginia. There you go. So as this pandemic kept going, we're still like 73% of people are like, just send me the beer. And I think that would have solved a lot of people's issues with like maybe we would get a little bit more support if you could just send it straight to the people instead of like going, hey, can you come to us to buy this and potentially wait in a thing. It would have made both sides easier.
Mm-hmm.
It's just weird. And I think going forward, that's one thing that we're going to see change. I think we're going to see more states allow this direct-to-consumer shipping of alcohol. If we can do it with wine, we should be able to do it with beer. Mm-hmm. Rosendra says they used to get Wine Enthusiast magazine, and one time someone wrote and complained that Michigan doesn't allow shipping wine. This guy was literally like, Michigan is in the dark ages. Yes, the dark ages, because I can't get me wine shipped to me. Oh, it's just crazy. Just crazy. All right, let's see. Where are we still? I've got a Google Doc full of stuff. Are you cracking in your second beer?
I might have.
Here, can you read you want to read it and I'll put you on the one and I'll get my next article?
Yeah. I don't know if I'm on the one yet, but
you are. I got you.
Assume I am. Hey guys, this is what I'm drinking now. It's a Moon Rabbit from Big Grove Brewery. It's a Japanese-style lager, named for the Moon Rabbit, whose legend is celebrated during the, Tsukimi Harvest Festival. Our Japanese-style rice lager is light, clean, and incredibly easy to drink. Magnum and Pearl hops offer a delicate floral bitterness to the beer that pairs well with its Pilsner malt base. Brewed and canned by Big Grove Brewery, Iowa City, Iowa. 1 pint, 16 fluid ounces.
Nice burger. This sounds delicious. I've got one too. I'm about to crack into it as well.
It smells good.
I've got myself on the one for this grip. And rip. What's everybody else drinking out there, by the way? I got my next article pulled up finally. Got it finally pulled up. I just wanted to say hello to the people. I've forgotten to talk. I need Barker to read any legal texts in my life. That's, he could do it once we get him that microphone.
Also, if people pay me, I will do that for a living. No problem. Send me random documents. I'll read them out.
Yeah. I don't know if you want random documents just sent to you.
That's true. Not random.
You might yell and curse at the audience like I did that one time. It wasn't a great time. All right. So that's where we were. We're still kind of there, right? But let's talk about where we're at, right? Where are we now?
March.
So
1 year.
March. 1 year later, right? That's what I wanted to call it. 1 year later. So let's see. We've talked about 515's open, right? Flicks tried opening in August.
Yeah.
August to November. Closed back down. Let's see where we're at with that. Still not a lot of signs. Movies are finally coming back out, and widespread vaccination is happening. Well, not happening yet, but it's going on right now. Hopefully we'll see more places be able to get more vaccines. But what does it look like now at 515 compared to August and October, like the August through October where you were open for the patio but not open?
There are definitely, there were specific days where the patio would just we'd have good sales those days. But we were still heavily on the crowlers, um, and pick up and to go stuff. Um, but I think now that it's more, the weather's nicer, obviously, and the tap room is semi-open most days. Um, we're getting more people in and buying beer in the tap room, which is good. And we still have like good to go sales, but it's not nowhere compared to, right at the very start through the summer, we had pretty good ones. And then, um, once that, once we were able to technically open up, our to go sales, went down a little bit.
Right. Now, I have a question for you. So
I will say, hold on.
okay.
I will say, we still crowler more beer now that things are opened and things are starting to go back to normal, than we did prior to the pandemic. Like if you had compared the most crowlers I would make in a week from then to now, it's still a fraction of it. Like I'm crowlering more per week, like in 1 week than I would for a month.
Right, yeah. What's funny is, so do you think that if you sold 4-pack 16-ounce cans of your beer, you would sell more beer in general than just selling the 32-ounce growlers?
Definitely of some beers. I think if we could have them in smaller, bigger containers. I mean, that just for like the ease of drinking, or there's some beers that are just, you crack it open and you don't want to drink 32 ounces of it. Or if you do drink 32 ounces of it, you're not really doing much afterwards.
So what's
Or
your
you waste it. But I think definitely if we had certain beers in smaller canning, I think we could have sold a lot more of them.
what's your
But
preferred what's your preferred package of beer then? Like just in general, a 12 versus a 16 versus a crowler.
I'd probably say a 16.
16 for most
Yeah,
beers.
like if I had to choose, like if I had to put all beers in the same size can, I would probably choose a 16 because it's just that middle ground of, yeah, there's some Pilsners or IPAs I can drink 32 ounces of it and be perfectly fine. But, I don't want to drink 32 ounces of
Russian
pitter
Imperial
patter.
Stout
Yeah,
or that.
something pitter, like delicious when you have
For the people that
a,
don't
a
know, what
proper
is pitter
serving.
patter?
Pitter patter was oh my lord, like a maple coffee stout,
Yep.
and
So it's
it was delicious, but it was served in a smaller glass size. So that's like, and you'd have like one, maybe two of them, but like drinking 32 ounces of that all at once it weighs on you. You're just like, ugh.
and it's not IPA, Aaron I think shut out what he's drinking, by the way. Bear Republic Racer 5. I would love to know what that
Ah,
beer
good.
is. I like 32 ounces are great, and Micah said it best right now. Or when you're sharing,
Yes,
it's
exactly.
great. If I plan to have more than one beer and it's a lighter beer or it's an IPA, yeah, of course I'll do a 32 ounce myself. But if it's that beer, the pitter patter like you said, or a Russian Imperial Stout, 32 ounces is great for sharing. But we're not sharing with anyone right now. We
Or
can't
like a
just go
quad or
around.
anything like that.
Yeah, we're not seeing that. It's just funny because I'm looking at these packaging trends, and this is year over year growth from 2019 to 2020 for packages, right? And we were talking about earlier about the pantry packing portion of the pandemic last March, where people wanted to shift it back to those 12s and those 24s. It's funny
Hmm.
that let's see here, and this is just beer in general. It's not it's craft beer in general, not specifically Iowa. So the 16-ounce 4-pack cans saw a 32.4%
Jeez.
growth year over year, and that's
Jeez.
6.3% of the total market. And then 12-ounce 12-pack cans over the same period saw an increase of 47.2%. So that's 14.7%. And then, so the 6-pack bottle. This is a nationwide one. Not a lot of people in Iowa do bottles anyway. The 16-ounce or the 12-ounce 6-pack bottles is still 25. 12-ounce 6-pack can, 23% increase 26% of the share. The shift away from bottles was already happening, right? And in Iowa, since most people are so new, most people went straight to canning and passed right over bottling, right?
Yeah.
Which is good in my opinion. But we're seeing a huge increase in the 16-ounce 4-pack cans exploded as the craft breweries had to shift away from in-house stuff to the shelves, and that's the easiest one people can get. I know that Mahaska goes around and can do mobile canning. There's a couple other mobile canneries, and that's one of their settings is that the beautiful pounder. And I love me my 16. This is a big old 16-ounce boy. But,
this is the perfect can size. It's perfectly sized.
Yeah, it's 1 pint. It's, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's just a pint. It's a pint of beer. It's a real pint. Let's see. The 19-ounce can single saw an 85%, so a medium-sized crowler saw 85.2% increase out of nowhere. So it increased 85.2%, but it's only 2% of the entire market share.
Yeah, so it wasn't even
so it exploded out of nowhere, but it's still such a small share.
It most likely is just because there was a demand for it and they existed and people said, okay, we got to switch to this. I would bet that that's one of the big reasons is like, they've got overstock of this really uncommon size. Okay, let's use it.
So we're not seeing a lot of craft breweries in Iowa do 12s. Big Grove's starting to do 12s. Toppling Goliath just did a 12. You can get a 12 of Pseudo Sue. It's $25. Here's the problem with the freaking 12-pack. Lionbridge does a 12-pack. I'm interested in that. Back Pocket does them. Exile does a couple 12s, but there's not a lot, and it's of their flagship beers generally. But do you think like if 515 did a 12-pack, do you think anyone would buy it? And do you think anyone would?
Oh yeah, I think if we had, when we did our 2 cans. We did the Double B and the Mexican Spring, and Double B did all right. Mexican Spring just flew. So I bet if we like 16 or 12 ounce, if we had that in a 12-pack or anything like that, I think they would fly.
Do you think people would turn their noses up to it at like? Because economies of scale, right? Because 515 is pretty small. You're talking like $20 12-pack.
Yeah, but I do know that, or like our OJ IPA would do really well in that format because people want it. But it's usually something like if you're going to drink it, you're going to probably not be sharing it. So like a 32-ounce crowler sometimes is just like it's not too much, but it's like you probably if you're just having a beer. It's a good beer just to drink, but 32 ounces, it becomes you're drinking tonight, not, doing other things as well. But
what does the chat think about this? What does the chat think? Would you turn your nose up at a $20 12-pack of craft beer? What's too much? What's too much for you guys? What's too much for you guys what's too much for a 12-pack of cans?
I would say that it would have to be very specific, like for a smaller craft brewery to do it, like 1 or 2 types of their beer, like not very much, just because you go with the ones that the people can drink easiest and most efficiently, and that's the one you would do, in my opinion. Like I think our Des Moines Pilsner would do well in that too, like a 12 pack, 12-ounce 12-pack.
Yeah. Speaking of like where we're at, $20 is pretty reasonable, but I would rarely buy it. Agreed. I don't usually want 12 of any same beer. True as well. I would only want to buy it heading to a party or something like that. I agree 100%. That's why I'm a big fan of the 6-pack 12s or the 4-pack 16s. I get a little trouble if I drink too many of the 4-pack 16s, but that's the easiest type for people to get right now. And I think currently right now, I think where we're at, we're going to see more of that. And as things continue to open up, I hope some people don't dive deep into the buy in store shelf space and realize that slowly but surely that's going to knock down slightly, because we're seeing like if 60% of your sales are out the door and only 40% are in house when the weather is nice like this. I hope that people don't like what happened to Pivo, where can or event space if they choose the multi-headed canyon line or something.
Yeah.
I'm just worried. I'm just worried for everybody.
Mm. Ooh, variety packs. I like that. Cool Whip.
Not a lot of people do a lot of variety packs. Yeah, Micah says the Westo variety 12 pack has the smoked red pills, cocoa stout. It'd be nice to see the seasonal variety 12 packs as well, where it's like two different IPA or a lager, a stout, an IPA, and something else, a fruited sour maybe or something like that, or anything like that. But I mean, so we're starting to open up a little bit, right? We've Confluence's patios, technically open weather's starting to get nice, so actually we can have patio business going. You have something to say there, Barker, about patio biz?
No, I was just going to say, yes, we have patio business. I built 3 picnic tables. Come drink at 515.
Yeah, come drink safely at 515 outside. Please wear a mask until you're sitting down, and also after you take sips of beer, put the mask back on, maybe. Just saying. Just saying. So what do you think? What do you think? How we're doing now compared to March of last year? We're doing better. Like everything shut completely down before.
Yeah, I mean, for the situation, I think a lot of places pivoted very, very well at the beginning of March, but it was kind of chaos mode. You just did what you had to do to make it work. And then now, we've adapted to that situation and we knew what it was like before. So I think it's made things easier, but also we're not out of it yet.
Right. Yeah.
But
So
to deal with the crapshoot at the very, very start made the rest of
shutdown.
it. Yeah.
Well, it also specifically hurt small craft breweries, right? So your big macro boys, right? They don't have really tap rooms to speak of, and maybe they got hurt a bit. I mean, yeah, they got hurt too because of how much presence they have in bars, but they have just huge amounts of cans in stores. You go to the big walk-in coolers at a gas station, how much craft is in that walk-in cooler?
Yeah.
No. None. Maybe there's some Sam Adams in there. I'm not doing hats off yet. In the middle, I'll do it, but not. Wait, I'll put on a beer hat. I changed my mind so quickly.
Yeah. I'm staying beautiful.
That's okay. Specifically, though, it hurt small craft breweries more than it hurt the nationwide boys. The nationwide boys probably actually saw a regional uptick in sales because they've been trying to pull out of regions, right? Because we've been moving to a more hyper-localized thing and want to support local. And then the regional people have been pulling out. Your Sierra Nevadas, your New Belgiums, your Summits. I mean, you never see Summit in the stores now anyway. They have one variety pack at the Hy-Vee close to me, and that's about it right now. Yeah. And you used to be able to get all their stuff all the time. So they probably actually saw an uptick because people wanted those 12 packs. People wanted whatever they can get for cheap to put in their shelves. Yeah. And I good or bad, I don't know. Surly probably saw a little bit of an uptick as well. Surly's struggling a bit in Iowa right now as well. So that's just what I know from the people who distribute it. But Barker, what do you think about the phrase local? What do you think? What does local beer mean to you? You can be honest.
60-mile radius.
Okay. So if you go to Hy-Vee and you see on the shelf your 60-mile radius brewery that you drink sometimes, and it's a beer that you think is okay, and it's a 4-pack 16-ounce cans for $10, right? And right next to it on the store shelf is Sierra Nevada's whatever beer style you like.
Drinking not Sierra Nevada, so
okay,
I can promise you that.
Okay, so that's $10 for that 4-pack. This Sierra Nevada is $6.99 for the 6-pack.
Don't give a shit.
You're drinking a 4-pack of beer that you think is just okay versus a beer you like that's cheaper?
I'd buy both of them. Is that an option?
You have to buy one or the other.
It would depend. So I would say, for the most part, I would drink, especially if we're talking about the pandemic, I'm going to drink the one that I still think tastes good, but I know it's going to, it's helping them. So I would probably go with
picture a face.
The local. Yeah, I could do that because it's like, I'll go someplace and still be able to drink a Sierra Nevada or anything like that afterwards, and they're probably going to be perfectly fine. But you know, just knowing people and knowing that your dollar is going to help them, stay employed, be employed, have a
Right.
job.
One of the things I've always liked about local stuff is like I think the dollar goes further, and you can imagine where the dollar goes instead of just into a giant pool, a giant well of Sierra Nevada money. I
Yep.
agree with you. Honestly, I would buy the 4-pack, 16-ounce cans usually, especially right now when I know everyone's struggling and I know Sierra Nevada doesn't need the taproom help like I don't know another brewery does. But what if I told you that that's a purely almost a millennial thing at this point?
No, that wouldn't surprise me.
So what if that brewery with the 4-pack 16-ounce cans, that guy who owns the place isn't the nicest guy on the planet,
Well,
or they don't do
yeah.
much charitable business?
Well, that would dictate whether you like it or not and want to support it in the first place, right?
But it's still local, right?
Yeah, but I mean, even before that, if you didn't think a place was a good business or it had that practices, you probably wouldn't just actively support it anyways. You would go support another business similar to it or in the same vein that does adhere to your values.
All right, so here you go. Here's a percentage of people that said where
Oh,
local was
I'm
somewhat
going to
or
be
very
wrong.
important. No. You're on my. We're on the same page. You and I, same page here, same page. I'd like to know what everybody else thinks too. Here's the percentage of respondents think local is somewhat or very important by age: 35 to 44, 70%; 25 to 34, 66%; 21 to 24, 32%. So yeah, so Rosendra says tend to think of local as the whole state of Iowa. I agree with that. I would say state of hyper local Des Moines, regional local Iowa is what I think about that. So this is an article from the Brewers Association on the insights of Gen Z and their coming of age as their preferences for beer. So they don't really, so local isn't as important to them. So what's more important to them isn't what's local. They're more care about the politics associated with it, which is hilarious and amazing at the same time. If I could pull up my doc again. Gen Z cares less about attributes and cares more about actions. So what you do, what you are in terms of local and small, matters less than what you're doing as a small and local business. So if that business is putting back into their community, they're more likely to care about it. But if they're not doing anything, they might pick the regional one if they know that person
Yeah.
one regional one supports a charity they like or anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this guy named Bart Watson does like every single article in existence from the Brewers Association. He believes Gen Z is willing to support local businesses, but they aren't going to support them just because they're local, and that's a big thing for me. I want to support local businesses, but I don't want to support them just because they're local. I'm agreeing with Bill's Preston in the chat here. I like supporting good local craft beer.
That's what I was trying to get at. Like, is their product good? Like, I'm not just going to willy-nilly support something that I don't, one, like and or believe in. Well, that just doesn't make sense. If I think that their business is crap, I probably don't want their business around. There's a reason, this same crowd that supports doesn't support not local because they don't like what they're doing.
Right, yeah. And it's just like, if I don't like the local beer, I just won't buy it in general. And I won't even consider it at the store generally. And this hyper local thing has become an issue because the store shelves are like full of local beer, right? Not all of
Yeah.
it. Not all of it is the best beer on the planet. And that's been pushing better national brands out. I mean, I wish the local section was smaller, but all good beer versus huge and
Yeah.
full of like a crapshoot of stuff.
You want it to be like you go in there and it's hard to make a decision of what you're taking, even though there's not a huge selection of it.
Right. So that differentiates us between like millennials and Gen Z, of course, because they hate us. That's just their thing. They hate us. No skinny jeans. No side parts. I don't know what it is for guys, but they still hate us anyway. But because they're one of the more connected audience. We're fairly connected. We're on our phone, but I'm not going to go whip out my phone at Hy-Vee and be like, which one of these breweries? Like, it's kind of like a Portlandia sketch. Which one of these breweries is donating to the ARL right now? And that's the one. Maybe I saw something on Instagram and that influenced their choice, but I'm less likely to be like that.
Yeah.
Skinny jeans and side parts forever,
matters.
says Cool Whip. Too bad. Gen Z hates you for it. Mom jeans and middle parts or no parts. I don't know. I don't know how hair works.
Hold on one second.
Don't. No. Please don't. Please don't. Ugh. So, we're talking about hyperlocal. We're talking about these Gen Zers that want to support actions versus brands, right? But these brands, right? What do you think of 515? If I said 515, what's the beer you think of?
Oh, Mexican Springer OJ.
If I say Exile, what is the beer you think of?
Ruthie.
If I say Confluence, what beer do you think of?
They've got the
You're about to say
God.
it, I know.
Des Moines IPA?
IPA, yeah. So it's just funny. So we're
That
moving
or the
on.
Nessie. I've never
Des
drank
Moines
an
IPA is their flagship beer. This is the one beer. Sierra Nevada, you got a bunch of different ones. Everybody's got a thing that is what they're known for.
Yeah.
It's a really bad segue, but I'm glad you played along with me.
No problem.
So this is about where we're going in the future. We're talking about Gen Z, right, and their preferences on beer. And what are our buying preferences now, too? Because I care more about our buying preferences because I'm me. You know what I mean? How often do you go... So, how often are you buying a Ruthie?
Never.
Okay, why?
The last time I drank a Ruthie, I PR'd my deadlift, but that doesn't matter. I just, I think the only times I've drank, I don't dislike it. It doesn't trigger my trigger or whatever that saying is, but
Sure.
I'll drink it if it's available or like around me. Like if I'm at a party and someone's brought it to share, I'll drink it, or someone gives it to me, but it's not a beer that I actively go out to seek and buy. I would say there's not very many of those beers that I actively go out and buy. I usually only drink beers when I go to a place.
Yeah, so
I don't buy many cans, but if I'm buying cans, it's places that I really enjoy going to.
So one of my defaults at places was always in the before times and a long time ago, if I went to a bar and I didn't know what was on tap, I would go, "Do you guys have Des Moines IPA on?" My go-to, boom. I had a beer off the top of my head. It's the same. Do you have Ruthie? What's up, Torpedo Bread? What's going on, my doot? Doot. Grip and rip it if you haven't already started. And also, we got a
I'm
beer
almost
for
ready
you.
for number 3.
I'm not. I've got most of this one. I got a beer for you, Torpedo Bread. He likes this beer a lot.
Wait, I'm saving that for last, right?
Same. Yes, 100%.
All right, hold on.
So
before we continue, what beer should I switch to?
I would do the Lionbridge Ziva Voda.
Okay,
do you want to be on the one shot for this grip?
I was trying to see if they had anything written, but they don't.
It's a Czech Pils. It's very good.
Guys, it's a Czech Pils. Czech Pils.
You're on the one.
You can put me on the one shot. Let's do this. Hey, guys and gals. Welcome to the Beer Hall Podcast. This is Matthew Barker. I'm about to drink some Lionbridge. Czech-style Pilsner.
Woo. Your microphone decided not to pick that up because it was too sharp of a noise.
No!
Now you're cutting out because you're just crazy. Micah says the last time that she had a Ruthie was after they did the run to the Exile because it was the free post-race beer. And she doesn't know she was actually ever purchased. I've purchased a couple of Ruthies. But what I'm getting into is when I go to bars, when I go to breweries, when I go to the store, I'm not... And this is how it keeps going. And it started a long time ago for me, and it keeps going, is what's new, what's different, what's unique, right? Mm-hmm. I am not often buying a Des Moines IPA unless maybe I'm going over to my parents' house and and I want to bring beer that my dad will like. I'll go, well, he wants what he likes. and I know he likes Des Moines IPA.
Yeah.
So as we've going forward, and this is a cool trend, we're talking about these 12-pack cans, and what are you going to put in these 12-pack cans, right? You're going to put your flagships in it. But the problem with the 12-pack of 12-ounce cans is going forward and in the future, the flagship beers are actually seeing a year-over-year decrease every single year for the past 6 years.
Hmm.
And it's a slow drop, right? But it is a drop. Year over year, flagship beers are dropping. And it
How
doesn't
many
surprise.
years is this study
This is
over?
6. This is from 2014 to the start of 2020.
It's going to plateau eventually.
You think that it'll stop at one point?
That's what I think. Just the
I think-
flagships. But
you think they're always going to have a certain level?
Yeah, but I don't think we've hit it yet. Like, there's still probably places best-selling beer. It's just the percentage of it. Eventually, it's just going to be like, that's the go-to, but it's not the, as you said, like you go to a bar and you don't know what they have. You'll say that maybe they have it. But I think, places are getting more individual beers under their belt that people can taste from. So this tried and true will always be good, but they're having all these new different beers, which can either positively affect that or negatively affect it, depending on the quality. But you're now having just a greater amount to choose from,
right?
And a greater variety, and that whole stimulus of, ooh, this new thing. So you might buy a Des Moines IPA, but maybe you're going to buy 2 of these new things to try as well. So it's like, eventually, I would say sales will kind of level out on them, but I don't think we've hit it quite yet.
Well, I'm gonna disagree, and I switched. You were on the one, now I'm on the one. I'm just letting you know.
Oh shit, I was on the one.
Yeah, you were on the
hey
one.
guys, I'm probably wrong. Just to let you know,
I
have a master's
now.
degree. I have a master's degree in human performance, not economics or business.
These are our opinions. I'm looking at people that are way smarter than me in their charts and what they've developed. This is the Brewers Association's information, not my information. And I'm just doing it with it. So for me, I'm always going, what's new, what's different? That's why I'm not buying a lot of Des Moines IPA. I'm not buying Ruthie. I would rather have Exiles blank and have it be whatever their new beer is, which is why I'm happy that I know that they shut it down, because everything shut down. But their pilot program, whenever I would go into Exile, I'd want whatever the weird thing is. And that's part of it's just like, and they're generally good beers. But I think it's actually more, I think going forward, flagships I think are still going to lose. I think they will still be probably close to the majority of what a brewery sells, but I think it'll be more like a 25%, and everything else makes up the rest of that. Because I'll go now when I go into a brewery, I don't go, do you have a Des Moines
I agree
IPA?
with that. I'm just saying that most flagships, like, we haven't seen them hit that spot, but it's not going to just continually be a decrease. Eventually, I would have said like 30 or 40% personally, but that's why I said, like, I think we're a long ways out from it. I do not think that it's going to make up like 50% plus at some point. I think most places will be below that.
Well, it's already below 50%.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then that helps.
It was 50%. It was 50% in 2015.
Ooh. What's it at now?
And, like 47%. Like I said,
yeah,
it's a slow...
I would say like if you pulled this out to like 30 years or something, I bet it would sit in like, I would say like that 25 to 35 range.
Now, this is craft beer specifically. If we're talking domestic, I think that their flagship brands, that's all they sell. And I think
that's also why I think
majority
that like 25 to 35% will just consistently buy those flagships, because a lot of your business is habit. Like, we get people who come into 515 every time.
Habits are changing.
Yeah, but they still will try something, but they'll always, like, you can count if someone's coming in and they're a regular, and they'll try new things, but like 1 out of every 5 beers is that. But those other 4 beers are different beers. They're not the same thing. Your consistency still goes to that, but it's, I think you're a regular consumer, and I think there's a lot of people out there who aren't willing to push their it,
Push the
or
envelope on what they
yeah,
want.
on what they like. That when you find something you like, you're just going to keep drinking it, and eventually you'll kind of do. But I think that there's a ratio of when you kind of get out of that and you start drinking new things. I think there's another person who just kind of takes your place
Yeah.
at some point, and so it'll
Joe Schmo
never
off the
be.
street.
I would say like your 25%. I would say 25-35% of that is just going to always be that turnover of people who get in there, they like that one beer, and then they kind of
Here's
wean
what I'm
themselves
saying.
off, but a new guy comes in.
Here's what I'm saying. I'm not your average craft beer guy, but I think, and yeah, I agree. It's going to hit 25%.
I'm your average craft beer guy. I've
I think
drank
it's going to
more
hit about
beers in the last
25%.
two months than in the last 2 years.
About 25% is where I think it's going to hit. And yes,
Yeah.
it's because they'll have the new beer, but then they're going to go, their second beer is going to be the one that you're used to, or vice versa, right? But what
Yeah.
I'm saying is, when I go to the bars and stuff now, and this is why places like Taproom, Bait Shop, Peanut Pub, all these like craft beer bars, they bring in what's new, what's hot, what's fresh
Yes.
every single time, is because I don't go, do you have Des Moines IPA on? I go, do you have any
What do you have?
Confluence beer?
Oh, okay.
I say the name of the brewery, or I go, do you have any hot style?
Yeah.
So if I go at the place, I'm like, I don't say Des Moines IPA specifically. I go, you got Confluence beer? Oh, we've got Extinction Event, we got Weather Beacon Red, we got blank. And I go, I'll pick one of those three. But they also had Des Moines IPA on tap because it's somebody's go-to.
Yeah.
And there's your 4 beers, and then 25%. That's what we're talking about. What's the chat think? What is your buying habits? Do you think? So I mean, this is why the taproom, Iowa taproom exists, right? It's like you have so many different beers because, and you have so many. You have a flight of different beers you can have from one brewery.
Yeah.
Something to consider about core
Bill
brands.
Preston's been typing. Hold on, I got it.
I got it. I'll
Okay.
read it to you. Something to consider about cores is that you have to go through a distributor, and they would rather push a core beer that they know will always have access to over a beer that might be a crapshoot. It'll take a shift in either of these sales. And that's another problem going forward. And that's another problem that a lot of people had. And that's another topic that's coming up going forward is that a lot of these breweries that wanted to pivot to more sales, more can sales, they had to go through a distributor to be able to pivot all of their brands out the door, right? So, like you're saying, what works for a person that's self-distributing, they have to now beg and ask a distributor, please let me sell my cuvee, my wild cuvee, my cuvee of 5 different years of beer. I know it's $500 for a sixtel, but someone's gonna want it out there, and you have to beg a distributor to see if they're gonna even buy it from you for way less to then sell to a place, a retail place or a store. Or a bar, and we know bars aren't really happening or popping now, and that's another issue with the whole flagship thing. Is distributors want that sameness, but craft breweries in general don't want that sameness. Well,
Right.
in my opinion, it's the ones that care. Hang on, I'm gonna switch it to the one. The ones that care about the craft don't want that sameness.
You need a little more baritone in your voice when you're doing a one shot, sir.
Hang on, the ones that care about the craft don't care about the sameness. Was that better?
Much better. Much better.
One of the things that's nice around here is that like Gezellig and Newton, right? Confluence, and I know there's probably issues with Confluence. I know, me too. I love them. What I'm saying is they work with a distributor that's willing to accept a lot of their weird stuff because they know it'll sell. And I don't know but they also have to play within the realms of they can't get too wild and crazy with what they're putting on the shelves because they have to know that the distributor's going to buy it from it. That's an entirely different game. Yeah, Rosendra says in chat that Shadowcaster agrees. He asks if a place has anything new from a brewery rather than asking for the exact same beer all the time. Yeah, the 3-tier system, I think, and I don't know why it didn't happen. Well, I do know why it happened because Big Beer has lots of money. Is it should have seen the largest shakeup it's ever had. And we've seen a little bit of it. We can do craft cocktails to go. We can do door-to-door delivery for now.
That's me, guys. If you need beer delivered on Fridays, Matt Barker.
What do you have to order for over $50, right?
I don't remember what the rule is. I just take it to people's doors.
Yeah, places like Peanut Pub, Bait Shop are the exception. But most bars aren't craft beer bars. For the craft beer audience, those craft beer people want the new hotness, and that's
Yeah.
we're in a weird section of the market that's not exactly everybody else. And what do you think of that beer? What do you think?
This
Is it too hoppy?
No, I actually very much enjoy it. Um,
Oh, I can start the new goal. Barker, I
we're
need a few. I'm going to put you on the
we're
one. Tell them about the
we're
beer.
this beer. I don't really know how to describe it, but it's very smooth and very easy to drink. And we talked a little bit about can sizes and preferred can size. This is not my preferred can size because it's smaller than my hand, but I do drink them abnormally fast. So this is almost empty, and I feel like I opened it less than 10 minutes ago. So I don't know what Jack's doing now, but Czech style Pilsner from Lionbridge. Go get
I,
yourself a 4-pack.
I'm creating our new community goal. It's called Cooking with Beer. Want to watch us do some cooking with beer? And it's going to be 100,000 channel points, baby.
I will cook. I love to cook with beer.
And I'm
I'm
starting
not
it
very.
now.
Ooh, it started.
There you go. There you go. It's $50 to deliver, by the way.
By the way, hey Jack, do you like Brussels sprouts?
I love Brussels sprouts, dude.
All right, that's one of our dishes. Do you
Beer with
like
Brussels
bacon?
sprouts? Yeah, I like bacon.
Oh
I
yeah.
love bacon.
Oh, don't.
Did you
second
not
guess
see my
me,
post
sir.
on Instagram?
No, I did see your post on Instagram.
I was cooking
What,
Iowa
today?
chops last Saturday with Brussels
Oh,
sprouts.
yes. What are
Oh,
you
there we
making?
go. Everyone's dumping everything at the challenge. There you go. There you go. New challenge is up, everybody. So, also, just a heads up, the challenge is going to be very straight. I'll talk about it at the end, actually. I'll talk about it at the end. Continuing on, though, so we're talking about this whole practice of buying and stuff, and are we at a point yet where it's going to shift back towards the flagships or not? What do you think? And I know we're both talking. We both think it's going to continue dropping, right? But what
Yeah, I
percentage of the
think
craft beer
my bottom
market?
line is higher than your bottom line, but yeah, I think it's going to keep dropping.
I'm talking for the craft beer consumer. So
Craft beer consumer, I would say
25%.
it's gonna it it really depends on what to go sale, like how everything pans out after this, because
Sure.
it's like, if we maintain at 515, if we maintain our to go sales that we've are kind of been sitting at right now, that I mean we've worked our way down to it, just like I said earlier, but which is still way more than we were doing prior to the pandemic.
Right.
But I think that's going to be one positive, is more people are interested in getting beer from you. And usually I think if a place is open, hey, I just drank that guy
I know.
really quick, like
Keep
since you're
talking. I'm
pouring a
just
beer.
showing the people.
Oh, but I think what you're going to see is people who they're going to maybe get the flagships for their in-home consumption, where since tap rooms are going to be open, like everything's going to get reopened at some point. And when
How long are you thinking? How long? How long until? What do you think? Six months,
well,
8 months, 1 year?
it's a crapshoot here in the state of Iowa. I still need to get my vaccination. Hey, Kim Reynolds, if you hear this, can you just like insert me someplace and stick me with some needles? But I would say like a year, 6 months to a year. But
I
it
think
all
even a
depends
year
on
from
how
now.
well the vaccination
Yep.
situation goes.
Biden wants
Because
most of the people be eligible for a date by May 1st, right? So
yeah. But yeah, so I would say like 6 months to a year. But the people who are coming into the tap rooms are probably like, if you're going out and buying a craft brewery's beer from a store, it's probably one you're going to like. And if the tap room is open, hold on, Jack. If a
I know
tap
I'm
room is
agreeing with you.
open, if a tap room's open, I'm more likely to go into the tap room. I might have the comfort beer, but that is when I'm more willing to try new things, like
Right.
in the atmosphere. It makes it a better experience.
I want the
If I'm
freaking
going to a store, I'm probably going to be like, okay, I want that. Like that's what I want. I don't want to have a 12 pack of, you know, a quad of some sort.
right. That's my
Because
problem. That's my problem with the store right now. Is like for the longest time, a few years ago, so much fresh beer was in those pick six, right? You can pick six whatever and do whatever. Here's my issue
yes.
is like, so I did a pick six for our 10-hour stream, and every single one of the beers was out of date that I had in that pick six. I want to see more new beer in those pick sixes so I can
Yeah.
actually have a fresh pick six because I want to try so many different beers and I want to try some new fancy, over fruited stuff, over whatever stuff, that weird mint milkshake IPA coming from Fenders. I want to try it. But I'm
Wait,
not going to, I
what?
don't want to,
What?
I don't, oh, mint milkshake IPA from Fenders, everybody. It came out this week. Go get it. 32 ounce crowlers, baby. Shout out to Fenders, Polk City. I've been there. Great place, nice
Oh
people.
God, I want that.
That's a bit crazy for me, but
That is perfectly crazy for Barker.
yeah. But saying that though is just like I want to try all of these beers, but I wish that they had an allotment, like Hy-Vee or these other places had an allotment that they had to put a certain amount in the pick six department, so that way people can try them, because that's where a lot of people try the stuff, and if they're trying it out of date, they're not gonna freaking like it.
I was gonna say, where was the last place that had a good would Beer Crazy in the Des Moines area have been
Yes.
the only place that had a good selection of craft beer you could do pick sixes or fours?
Correct. Hy-Vee does okay with it, but the Hy-Vee closest to me, Bill's Preston, is where I got that last pick six from. And the last pick six I got that before was the Hy-Vee over by Flicks on Douglas, the nicer one, but it's still all old beer. Because a lot of the time it's a dropped can, this person did a sales event there, they did all this stuff. If you want, this helps me, is if you want people to try all this new stuff, it's just like, come on guys, let's get some more pick sixes going in there. But the distributors and Hy-Vee, the retailer, doesn't want you to do the pick sixers. They want you to buy the full thing, so that way it helps their stock, it helps their end deal.
Speaking of that, Gripped and Ripped.
Ooh, what you got there? That's one that I didn't tell people about.
This is Surly Brewing Company's Moving Picture Juicy IPA. Here, everybody. It is 6.5%. Brewed and canned by Sterling Brewing Company, Minneapolis, and Brooklyn Center, Minnesota.
Yeah, Lucas or Bill's Preston, I think you're right. I think that maybe the styles that they have there in their pick sixes were styles that aren't as dependent as maybe Easy Eddie is, or a double IPA is on being old. Sean got a pick six from the 4th and Court today. The pretty decent selection, but the 86th location is solid as well. True. But make sure you look at those can dates on whatever you're drinking. You don't want bad beer, and they're never pulling them from there. That's my issue with them.
True. All right.
That's
Where are we?
Oh my god!
Well,
oh my god! It's 8:09. Holy crap!
I was going to say we're at the where are we now, right?
Yep,
okay.
we're still,
Yep. Flagships.
we're-
Gen Z on craft brew.
I already talked about Gen Z on Craft Brew. You know, it's kind of just a,
yeah,
it's kind of
screw
just
'em.
loosey goosey. It's kind of just loosey goosey everything on there. It also, what do you think the beer trends? Like one thing we haven't talked about going forward. So we've seen the rise of the seltzers, the rise of the pastries. We saw a decrease in low ABV stuff and a decrease in the NA stuff going forward. Do you think that the low ABV stuff and the NA stuff is going to make a rise again?
I think now that places are starting to open back up and be available, you'll see a little bit of an increase in them, because again, now you have the ability to drink them in the way it was intended to be drank, in its size, in its glassware, whatever, which will help.
Sure.
But at the same, because it's like I think I really like we had our quad on at the very start of the pandemic, I believe, and
I believe
we crowlered some of that, and like people would buy crowlers of our quad, which is like I
That's a lot of
took one
quad.
home one night and I drank it all, and holy crap.
I had a
So
quad
like,
at Flicks one time, and this isn't a crowler, but I started drinking the quad after I got off of work around, I don't know, 10, and my wife had to come pick me up at later than I should say in the morning.
yep. So it's like, I don't like during the pandemic, I didn't try any, like, didn't get or buy any beers that are like that. Even though I really do like those type of styles, I didn't drink them very much because they weren't available in like this little Lionbridge guy is the perfect size, a nice 12 ouncer.
At the
But
beginning of the pandemic, I was all about those low ABV stuff, and before that, I was like, I'm gonna go biking. I got this. I got this Firestone Walker Flyjack. I've got this
Mhm.
other insert low calorie IPA Dogfish Heads, Slightly Mighty. It's man, I was going like I was being active. Like if I'm active on a bike and I want to be slightly healthy and stuff, I'm like, boom, give me that low cal IPA. It's not that great, but I'll crush all of these.
Yeah, I have to say one thing really quick.
Sure. Do you want to be on? Are you on?
Jory,
Yeah. Yeah.
to answer the real question, we are not doing hats. The Beer Hall podcast is not over. It is not after dark yet.
Not quite. Soon. I'm sorry. I'm sorry it's taking so long. I'm just really. I actually
Yeah.
like having these conversations.
This guy keeps talking.
I. Hey, whoa. I tricked
I do
everybody.
too.
I was like, this new version of the Beer Hall podcast is going to be all goose. It's going to be all fun. And then you guess what? What happened the last 2 weeks? Serious
Who?
conversation started. Real beer conversation started. It's not what beer pairs best with a Bebop's burger anymore, baby.
Hold on, I'll bring it back in. Hey guys, this is the Beer Hall podcast with Matthew Barker, the most adorable cellarman in the nation.
Your camera's out of focus for some reason.
Oh, of course it is. Just when I needed it most.
At least it's not constantly changing back and forth. Put your hand up to it and get to refocus real quick.
Whoop. Woo.
Hey, look, it did. I love that that's the
Magic.
thing that it does.
So, hey, remember when that didn't work? I figured out why.
Why?
You know how most lenses have like a little plastic sheet put over it? It had two. So I took one
Oh
off
my
and then it had
God.
like another little one
Sure.
that I never even noticed.
Sure. Bill's Preston says most like the most out of focus cellarman in the nation. Got him.
Hey,
So
Bill,
here's another
Bill-
thing I'm looking
Bill
forward to.
Esquire.
Okay, we got to talk about where we're going. And we're towards the end. We can curse now. Fuck you. I'm not going to say fuck to anybody. So one of the things that happened last year that we didn't talk about that I really did enjoy was the Socially Distant Beer Festival. So going
Yeah.
forward, I hope even if there is a live event for the beer festivals and other beer festivals this year, it's been nice that Comic-Con, other beer festivals have had an online proponent. I hope that going forward that there is an online component of it that allows people that like maybe they live in Arizona but they're from Iowa to get a little bit of the taste of the Iowa
Yeah.
craft beer thing. And it would help if they could wouldn't it be cool if you could ship to things and you have I don't know, like a 5 ounce, those tiny little growlers
Yes.
or the tiny
Growlers.
little bottles, the 5 ounce growlers. If you
Yes,
could
I
get
do
like
remember
ship
them.
out 24 of those and it's called like the Iowa Craft Beer Festival flight deck, and you ship that to the guy in Arizona, so he gets a little piece of that, and then we also have an online component where you get walked through, and maybe someone's streaming live from the festival. What do you think about that?
As long as it is for for that express purpose. First off, I hate those 8 ounce little.
Oh, I mean, me too.
Crowlers.
Filling them is a nightmare.
I've had people order a lot of those, and I'm like, you're getting the same beer. Why not just get some 32-ounce crowlers? What are you doing?
I know, but
Um,
for this is like it's a festival,
I
right?
know.
You want a small
Yeah,
amount of the beer.
festival. Yes, I think it would be cool to do, whether it be maybe a brewery's anniversary or something like that, like some big event where you could do, hey, on this day, we are going to do a virtual party type of thing. Obviously, have it available like to sign up for it, like a ways out so that people can get their orders in, but then send them these packages that say, hey, these are the beers that are represented at this, blah, blah, blah. And then people all around the place, maybe they can't even people in Iowa, like they live far enough away where it's like, well, I'm not just going to drive, there's places where you're driving
You're out of
3+
focus.
hours. I'm out of focus again. I don't care.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're on the one.
Oh, I am. Oh, that's fine. Um, uh, but it's like these places, they still don't want to drive so far. So you gotta have that option.
Yeah, I know it'd be a lot to organize, but I think I would be really cool. Like maybe it's random, and you just say, "Hey, I want the Iowa Craft Beer Festival flight deck," or maybe it's you pick. And if it was picking, yeah, it would have to be a lot more work on everybody's side. But
Yeah.
I think that like for an in-home beer festival, say like the socially distant one, it'd be really cool if people could have shipped them out. I know they encourage people to go buy beer from the places, but it'd be cool. Like maybe they did a thing like we do, kind of where they set the beer list right, and you actually taste through it, and everybody that's on that list, like say it's a beer festival, and they actually live stream with 515, and everyone tastes 515's beer together while Barb or one of the owners or Whitney talks about the beer, and then they go on, and it's Confluence, and it's John Martin or John and Maxon, and they go, "This is Gray's Lake Nessie with coffee," and then they move on and they stream the next one, on and on and on. That would be a better experience, in my opinion.
Just to let you know, I really appreciate when you were saying who should present the 515 ones that you didn't say me, because I was about to say, or you could do talking about beer with someone who knows nothing about beer with Matt Barker.
Well, I mean, it needs to be a face of that brewery, and unfortunately, you're not the face of it. You're the strong man of it.
I don't know. The posts that I'm featured in get a hell of a lot of likes.
Same with our Instagram at Flix. Or not at Flix. Damn it, that's my normal one at Flix Beer DSM. That's not the one. It's the at the Beer Hall Pod.
At the Beer Hall Pod, we're
On
beautiful,
Instagram.
and so are you, our lovely beardos.
If you want to see Barker lift some stuff, there you go. If he's the delivery man, might be on his on his way to being the face. I mean, he is a face. I'm making a citizen's arrest, encouraging people to commit a crime by mailing beer. You shut your mouth. No citizen's arrest here. You don't have a big iron on your hip. All right. Well, we went way
That's
too
another
long.
easy to drink beer.
We went way too long. And hey, I just want to thank
18 minutes. Fractional.
I just want to really thank everybody for being here, for supporting us. This has been the Beer Hall podcast portion of the program. We've got our new community goal going, which is cooking with beer. And Barker and I will, and it's no date yet. I can't promise a date yet, but we will be socially distant and together to cook with the beer. We'll do it outside, and we have to figure out a way to get the cameras out there. I got to take a laptop out there. We'll get all of that rolling. We'll talk about recipes in the future. It'll probably be for sometime in April. We're talking beer brats. We're talking, other food we can eat with it too.
Something
cheeses.
with Brussels sprouts. I'm just saying.
I love Brussels sprouts. And,
Also, I'm going to make a cake at some point.
a beer cake. Cool. Yeah, absolutely. It's cooking with beer, though. That's the new goal. I just wanted to thank everybody for being here tonight. I want to thank you for your support. We're on a good way through Barker's new mic. We finally got our first Twitch payout. It's pending right now. It'll hit the bank account on Monday. So we can actually, fund the beer we're drinking, which is awesome. I just want to say thank you so much to every subscriber we have and everything.
Yeah.
Barker's looks so much better than when we started, and soon he'll sound so much better than when we started.
I was going to say, remember when I did that grip and rip and no one could hear it?
I mean, I definitely should reach out to Beer Not Babies on the Twitch machine and see if we can get a collaboration going.
Beer
She could
Not
probably
Babies.
teach us
She
how.
made
We should ask
hella
her
good
opinion.
food this morning.
Oh, those Scotch eggs.
Yeah, I watched that while I was at Lowe's driving a
Pretzel
forklift.
covered Scotch eggs. Holy crap! Like those, I love a Scotch egg. Don't get me like.
Yep.
Ooh. But Barker, do you have anything to say to the people before we say goodbye? Until we shift to the after dark.
Yeah, put me on a one cam.
You're on the one. Just trust me. I'm gonna switch you to the one. Just trust me.
Hey, everybody. Hold on, actually. I'm letting you down.
It's on me now. I'm gonna switch it back to you.
Hey, everybody. Matthew Barker here. I just want to say thank you for joining us for this more somber, serious topic this week. But just so you know, we'll get back to the giggles eventually. We can't help it. God bless and good night.
I mean, it's good night for a couple minutes, everybody.
That was delicious.
That's been the Beer Hall podcast for this week, guys. Stick around for a couple more minutes. We're actually going to switch over to After Dark. We're going to take a quick, potentially 5-minute break. I'm going to put it on a different screen. I'm going to start up some music, get hype. If anyone knows the Discord information, get the live on Twitch, and you want to join us, join in. But that's been it for the week. Please follow us on Instagram at the Beer Hall Pod, on Twitter at the Beer Hall Pod. If you have any cool untapped reviews that you want to send to us, send it to us at the Beer Hall Pod. But
please,
guys,
because I'm not good at that.
Potentially true. Next week, I believe, will be a new Beard Eat Award. I think for the month. And then after that, we'll see. We got to get some more people on to do some good interviews with and talk about sauces and whatever else. But that's been us for the actual Beer Hall podcast, a tier 1 sub being gifted out by Hauser Nation. And he gifted to One Winged Freak. Welcome to the Beer Hall podcast, Beardos. One Winged Freak, you're a certified Beardo now. Thanks to everybody for watching. I'm going to put us on a Be Right Back screen. We're going to be right back. I promise to you. And I'm going to mute us now.